Quick history lesson before this video starts. I've been a macOS user for a couple of months now, and even when I wasn't a macOS user, I've always wanted a Mac. I've been a Windows user for a long time now. But in August, I picked up an iMac, late 2015, iMac 21 inch. And it served me very well. For the time, this is it back here. So, what gives? Why do I suddenly have a Windows laptop? Well, let's find out about that in this video. So, to start off with, let's talk about portability. The iMac's great. I love having an iMac for everything it has to offer, between design, between display, the functionality of the ports, all that. I love it. Like, I can't get enough of it. But there is some drawbacks. There is some things that are left to be desired, and that's what some of this has to offer. Let's start off with the portability factor. That is an all-in-one back here. That back there is an all-in-one. There's not a lot you can do with that in the line of transporting it, whatever. But this is sleek, this is portable, fairly light as well. It's made of not aluminum, it's made of plastic display, so standard enough Windows machine. But what it does offer is flexibility for me. Now let's talk about specs, which is a big reason as to why I switched almost entirely to this. And we'll get to what I keep the iMac for, because I'm keeping that around. I'm not selling it off or anything like that, because it has its own uses. But the big reason is specs. The iMac runs Core i5 board-wall processor from 2015. It runs 8 gigs RAM and a terabyte Fusion drive, which is very similar, mind you, to a spinning hard drive, which is basically a spinning hard drive. This, on the other hand, runs a 128GB NVMe SSD. It runs 8 gigs of RAM. I've upgraded it to 16, and it runs a 10th generation Core i5 processor. A 2020 processor. It boots up extremely fast. I can switching on the power button to Premiere Pro, I can be in my editing software in the space of 3 minutes. Whereas the iMac, if I wanted to get into the editing software, Final Cut was my choice, it would take quite a bit of time. So that slowed me down. So it's nice to have functionality. This is Thunderbolt 3, USB Type-C. It also has the barrel connector, the Dell barrel connector, if you're into that kind of thing. It also has a USB Type-A port, along with the fans. These things kick up quite a bit, so we'll talk about that in a bit. On the other side, though, is where the magic happens. On this side, we have Kensington lock. We have an RJ45 Ethernet port, one of the new fancy ones that can flip down, so you're not really getting caught off things, and the device can be thinner. Full-size HDMI, 2 more USB Type-A's, a microphone headphone jack combo, and a micro SD port, So obviously I'd really love if there was a full-size SD card port, since my camera, the EOS 700D, has a full-size SD card reader. Of course, I've gotten around this. It's not the end of the world. I can use the USB cable that came with it to connect up to the laptop. But yeah, this thing, it's kitted out, you know. It's not a case of can it do something. It's a case of how fast you want it to do it. Like, the screen is a 14 inch compared to a 21 inch when I was using the iMac back there. And the trackpad is very good. The keyboard, I love the keyboard. It's very tactile, very clicky. And the speakers, very good on this thing. Like, I have no complaints about the speakers. The webcams, very good in the right conditions. Of course, in less confident conditions, it's not going to be the best, which are quite a bit. But So in just general use, the webcam's very good, and it includes a privacy cover built in to the webcam, so you don't have to stick a bit of tape on your webcam or nothing like that. Alright, so this is a test of the webcam in about average conditions as you'd expect for a Zoom call or whatever it is. And this is also a test of the microphone built into the laptop. So it's a 720p webcam, not the best, but it's at 60 frames a second, so that's really cool. I'll do for Zoom calls, and like I said, it includes privacy filter, so that's cool. All that being said, it cannot run Final Cut, which is where I had to make the tough decision of switching to Premiere Pro. Alright, so it was tough at first, like I said, to get used to Premiere, get used to all its workflows. Obviously, I wasn't a big user before that. I was a Premiere user a bit on my old Dell Inspiron 15550 series laptop, 15-inch, but I was never really big into Premiere. I had always used Wondershare Filmora before that. Then I switched to Final Cut, and Final Cut did it all for me. It was fast, it was snappy. Then I got my hands on this and Premiere Pro. And what Final Cut is, it's a linear magnetic timeline, which is great if you're just putting out quick videos, if you want a really easy workflow and great plugins. Final Cut Pro works great. But if you want to get a bit more advanced with your edits, you want to be able to expand into your future, that could Premiere Pro is your only way to do that. There's obviously DaVinci Resolve, and that'll work fabulously on this. But when I was working away at switching away from Final Cut, I reset the iMac over there yesterday. And normally I'd put my editing software, I'd put all that on it, but I haven't done that. I'm all working off this. And you might be asking yourself, okay, there's a 128GB SSD. How do you keep up with all your data needs? Because you have a significant amount of data that you work off of. And it's quite simple. The way I work off editing is I transfer the stuff from my camera to an external drive. This is the one I use. It's a Western Digital Elements. It's a 2TB drive, and this houses everything. So I can work off the laptop, or I can work off the iMac. So I'm never really using this as internal storage. The only reason I have the internal storage in this, for Windows obviously, and for storing the internal programs, like Windows, for all my networking programs for college, etc. Now, okay, you got your attention. The Premiere Pro. What's so good about that you want to switch? Well, I've already listed out those features. And it's not that Final Cut can't give me that. It's just, for my workflow, I can film, edit and upload 6 videos in the space of time that I could get 3 done when I was relying off the iMac back there, when I switched to my more heavy camera gear. I've switched to 4K editing timelines now on the laptop. This can do it. And sure, it'll kick up a fuss with the heavy editing, but I'm willing to put up with that. Let's talk about the GPU performance in this now. There's no GPU built into this. And there's no GPU built into my iMac. It's simply just the built-in GPU. And I know it can get better if I got an external GPU enclosure and hooked it up to the Thunderbolt 3, which I still might do in the future. And I can never upgrade that thing. It's Thunderbolt 2, so that's never happening. This has the internal GPU as well, built into the CPU. So it's the internal graphics. Not amazing, I will admit. But what it does offer is it offers a flexibility to be able to work off device where I can take it on the go with me now. Since I started live streaming and doing Zoom calls, I've been able to set up my EOS 700D DSLR camera as a webcam on a tripod. Or I've been able to set this iPhone up as a webcam or an iPad. So now I have a full live streaming capable PC, laptop, and I have a live streaming capable camera set up. So I can take my work anywhere now instead of having to rely on filming and editing videos in advance. I can now take it all with me. I have this gimbal that the iPhone is currently recording this video on, and I can do videos like this and edit it. So I can get videos edited before I head into my classes in college, which is very handy because often I'm in the college at 8:30 in the morning. Classes don't start till 10. So I have a pair of headphones, and what I do is I simply just load it all up onto this, onto my external drive, and I can take it anywhere. The iMac still has a full-sized SD card reader, so if I want to load up the footage through that, I can do that. And yeah, like, I'm not writing off macOS. Obviously, if a MacBook came along that I could get, I'm not saying I'd switch to it, but yeah, I'm going to be sticking with PC as my main editing device for the next 5 years minimum, 4 years minimum. So, by the way, I did not pay for Premiere Pro. That is just way too expensive for me. I got a version of it for free forever, along with Photoshop. So if that's the kind of thing you want to see, let me know. Some things I'd love to see about this laptop is in a future iteration for the Latitude series. I'd love to see Thunderbolt 3 on either side. Maybe get rid of the barrel connector in favour of another Type-C port maybe. I did take apart and open this machine from the insides on the back, and I did confirm you can change out memory modules. You can add an external hard drive, like spinning hard drive. You can add lots of different things. And the display as well is no slouch. Like, I've enjoyed watching really good content. Like, I've watched 4K video on this, 5K video on this. I've watched plenty of 1080p video. I've created 4K video on this, and it's a really nice neutral color density display, and I think you'd really enjoy it if you picked up this laptop. Would I recommend switch to Windows from macOS? Because that's the main goal of this video. Would I recommend switching from macOS to Windows? Because that's the switch I did. And this iMac isn't really old as well. The only reason I was able to pick this up is because I got it through the college. Would I have kept using Final Cut if I didn't get you this laptop? Yeah, I would have. But for the types of editing I do, for the type of workflow I have, this is just nice and day better. It's so easy to do things like on a movie night, plug in the laptop to the television with a full-size HDMI instead of having to use a Thunderbolt 2 to HDMI adapter, because iMacs still do not have a full-size HDMI built into them. What is that, Apple? And just little things like having Type A ports, Type C ports, and full-size HDMI, micro SD card expansion, headphone jack, and there's pretty good microphones on it as well. I've recorded podcast sections on that laptop. And obviously you can get external modules and everything with Thunderbolt and Type-C support. So there's that. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you disliked it, you know where the other button is. Comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what you thought in the comment section below. I'm Connor, and I'll catch you next one. Goodbye.